to go. All right.
We're okay.
So one outside question I have personally was your enrollment in the military due to your like your background because you wanted to help people, or what was your function in the military?
My motivation to go into the military?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great question. I started out, first off, as a child growing up, I had aspirations to become a police officer. So when I grew up, I became when I was in college, my first year in college, I got a job as a corrections officer in the Missouri State Penitentiary. I worked there for about 6 months. It was a different world. But my main goal was to become a police officer. So I applied at a police department as I completed my associate's degree in law enforcement, and I got hired on as a police officer. So from the police department, I was recruited by the railroad as a railroad special investigator. I took that job, and while I'm sitting at home, I'm seeing this "Be All That You Can Be." It was a commercial, you guys know. It's just, well, we won't even go there. It's probably archived and stuff, you know, some of the other. Anyway, and I'm seeing all of this training. Well, when I was in college, initially I was enrolled in the Army ROTC program. They offered, they paid $100 a month. You did your Army training and things, and eventually some things, life change happened, and I wasn't able to complete the obligation. So I got out of there, started working as a police officer. And then I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the commercial, and I decided that perhaps this is a chance for me to do something different because I was in an area where I was stuck. I wasn't going anywhere. So a little travel sounded like it was in order, not to mention the fact it was an opportunity for me to serve my country. So I I enlisted into the Army, and I was going to go into the Army officers candidate school while I was in there. But I started feeling an obligation to be with other soldiers, whereas a commissioned officer, you're more or less dealing with the planning stage of everything, and as a non-commissioned officer, you're dealing with the actual tactical processes where you're moving people and things like that. So I decided that the Army was a good thing. I got a chance to go in, complete my basic and advanced training, and from there, my career just went on. Before I knew it was 10 years. I told my wife I would have to get out. She said, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "Well," she said, "Do you have a job?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, you're staying." So after that, it was another 14 years, and then I finally retired. So I wanted to make sure that my service was so that you guys wouldn't have to go and fight, that I would be the one. I have children too, that they wouldn't have to go and fight. So if someone has to sacrifice, I would prefer it to be myself than to have my children or you guys go and fight. We're in a different world today. That's it.
Yeah. Is there like a story that you have behind, like, well, that's not a good question to ask because you answered it. You answered it. So how did the military did the military have anything to do with how you started the foundation, or how you are shaped, or like how you became what you are now?
Very good question. What the military, for me, the rank and areas of responsibilities that I experienced in the military definitely influenced who I am, because I had to take care of people. I would tell my soldiers that my job is that I actually work for them. I have to make sure that they're properly fed. I have to make sure that they're properly paid. I have to make sure that their families are well taken care of. I have to make sure they have the right equipment and can receive the right training. All those things are essential to mission accomplishment. So as long as I'm taking care of my soldiers, that means that they can focus on the mission. They don't have to worry about those other things. So over time, I learned to grow and continue to develop this each stage of my leadership in the military. and it turned into an obligation, a commitment for me, is that I want to make sure that I can train my soldiers to fight on the battlefield and return and survive, which means that I had to make sure their families are also taken care of. I remember I had a couple of soldiers, NCOs, that wanted to go to college. So I would cover for them. I would do their job while they went to college, because people would ask me, how do I measure my success? I don't measure my success. And if I should be able to measure anybody's success, it would be the success of those that were under my charge, how they were able to rise above different challenges, how they were able to get their degrees. And I was just a part of making sure that they had that time and that opportunity.
Okay. Well, you want me to keep going, or?
Well, I'll ask some questions just about famous people, those
So we read in one of your articles about you starting a basketball program for the students inside of your program. And why, of all sports, did you start a basketball program, and how did it benefit your students?
Excellent. So we're talking about California High School in Eugene. It's in the Bethel School District. That school has it's a new school. It's only been around since, I believe, 2011, 2010. It's an alternative high school. Kids that sometimes people would think are throwaways. There are no throwaways in my world. I think that every student has value, but the only thing that's missing is opportunity. So my business partner and I, and one of the co-founders of our nonprofit, my wife is also a part of that nonprofit. We went to the school to try to do something different for the students who want to get into mentorship programs. And I noticed that this particular school had no sports, no athletics or anything going on. So my business partner is also a coach at the University of Oregon basketball. And he has a program where it's called Next Level Basketball, where he helped train future collegiate students to go into different basketball programs at different universities. So we went over and we did a survey to find out if students there were interested in some sports, basketball, because that's where my business partner, his expertise is. And students volunteered. We went to Nike. We got them uniforms. Called a good friend of mine. We took them shopping because remember I told you about my shoes growing up, with a hole in it. I didn't want our kids to go over to any place feeling embarrassed about their feet. So I called a good friend of mine. We took him out shopping. He bought them brand new shoes. It didn't matter what the price was. He put socks the whole year, and we paid for their tuition to stay in a dormitory at the University of Oregon during that summer youth basketball club. Our students went over there and they beat everybody. Clarence, as a professional trainer of basketball, he had these kids so sharp. Everybody wanted to hire, but nobody ever thought that these kids came from a different environment. They were not the traditional well-off students, but they did better than everybody. So we were pretty pleased with that.
Okay. So in your program, how do students earn your scholarships? How do students earn the scholarships to get them where they need to go?
Great questions, I tell you, you're ready. Okay, so we just had our meeting, our monthly meeting last night, and we were discussing our scholarship program, how we provide scholarships. What we do with our scholarships are, in Oregon now, as one of the jobs that I do as chair of the Oregon Commission of Black Affairs, we advocate for more funding for college. In particular, we wanted to make sure that college was free. So Oregon now has free college, but you have to have certain parameters to get that. So if you got a lot of money, you wouldn't qualify for it. But other students that are not and want to go to school, then they can. So our scholarships are designed to kind of augment some of the expenses that they may have. For example, books are very expensive going to college. So we offer scholarships that will pay for their books. Now the process is, and we have a very simple process. They write us a 500-page, 500-word essay about their life, what they're doing, what their future aspirations are, and what they plan to do for the money. And then we have, as a board, we sit around and we evaluate this, and then we make our determination. So this year, we were in a position that we gave away 1 scholarship. Next year, we will be giving away 12 scholarships to students. Someone said that, well, the name of the organization is Oregon Black Education Foundation. So does that mean that you only give scholarships to African Americans? No, we give scholarships to needful students. If you want to go to college, or if you want to pursue a technical skills training, we're all about that. I want to make sure that all of our students have an opportunity to develop to their full potential.
Yeah. But I got it. When did you realize that helping young students with their education make a difference in your community? How did it make a difference in your community?
Another great question. These are really good questions. When you help, here's one of the things that I look at from a holistic perspective. We look at unemployment, we look at opportunity, we look at disadvantages. And I look at all those things based off of my life, what I didn't have, but there were opportunities that were presented to me. So when I'm looking at students, I'm looking at not where they are today, but where they can go tomorrow and beyond. So by